Okay, so we're going to continue filling out our chart on wow words. You work really hard on vocabulary. Why do we need to learn vocabulary, Brianna?
So we know which words means which when we have to explain it to our kids or in our future we have to explain it to the class.
Okay. Does it help when you are reading to understand all of those bigger words?
Yeah.
Sure, it's part of our comprehension, being able to understand. We also can read a little quicker if we don't have to stop and think about all of these big words. So today, we're going to call these our wow words.
Wow.
Those are those words that when someone reads that you have written them in your writing, your teacher goes, wow. Or if we're talking about something and Carlos might say, oh, we were inseparable this weekend, I'd say, Carlos, wow, that was a cool word. Okay, so we're going to call those our wow words. We're going to build a chart today, and then we're going to use it in a game. So this is going to be kind of a fun way to think about vocabulary and to be able to use it. So we're going to change it up a little bit from what we usually do with Mr. Willis. So put your name at the top. And while you're waiting, I'm going to have you go ahead and copy down bond, intruder, suffered, and companion. Just do those words. You don't have to write their meaning yet. Just write bond, intruder, suffered, and companion. Just the ones that we have written a meaning with. Would it help if I underlined them? Okay, let me underline them.
Right here we have Dr. Paula. Looks like she is in the black shirt coming in. Stephen and Sabrine were eating.
Those are the ones that the other group worked on, and we're going to fill it in a little bit more.
Yeah. So then probably, oh, make it hard.
Yeah, it says shelter. Shelter.
Sanctuary.
Good.
Yeah. So let's go to the next page. Oh, here we have.
So today what we're going to do is we go through, we're going to talk a little bit about the word. If there's any parts in the word that we're not sure how the letters go together on their sounds, we're going to talk a little bit about that, and then we want to find what the word means and do it in a way that they'll remember and that you'll be able to use it. Okay? Are we ready to go? All right. The next word we're going to add to it is going to be the word inseparable. Inseparable. Do you see how it is put together, the word inseparable? What chunks do you see in that word?
You see
And-
in and then inseparable.
Okay, in, sep, a bull. Good. So we have this in that starts it, a bull or able at the end, and then we can go ahead and see that part. What was our root word? What word did we start with before we did the in and the able at the end? Do you know what this word was? Separate. Separate. Yeah, so inseparable. If you know that separate is the middle part, or is that root part, does that help you understand what it means? What does separate mean?
Separate means you can't.
Okay, can't force it apart. Let's see what it means. Now, you've already read a little bit about your story this week, and we're going to talk about our vocabulary words as related to the animals. Inseparable. People and their service animals often become inseparable. They are never apart. This reminds me of our story, The Right Dog for the Right Job, and then our last little article that we read about the service dogs helping people who couldn't hear, who were deaf.
Or the purple book.
Yes. So inseparable. If it says they often become inseparable, they are never apart.
All right, let's
What could that mean for us?
go to our summer page. We're going to read.
Turn and tell the person next to you, what do you think it could mean, inseparable? Sammy, you can tell Carlos, girls. boys are very quiet today.
Okay, it's the same time. So now the sun, does it come up at 6:30 in the morning?
Girls, why don't you share across the table what you thought of this?
Never.
They're getting up at the same time, but it's just.
What do you think, boys? You agree with that? Or do you want to add anything else to it? You're good? Okay. People or things that are inseparable are always together.
We were close.
You were very close. You had some really good parts to it. So inseparable means, how could we write that?
The people that
You can
you
never separate someone from their friendship.
I know.
Okay.
I know. Someone that's bothering you, you separate.
Okay, all right.
That's
If we are
separate.
inseparable,
Like an animal, you can't separate them with their friends because they're already combined together and they'll do everything together.
okay. So if I wanted to say, because remember, I want to paraphrase so that I can remember what this means. For me, I like these words right here. Never apart. If I am inseparable, if Sammy and I are bestest friends, we are inseparable. That means at recess we're together, at lunch we sit by each other, after school we're hanging out together. We are never apart. Everyone who sees Sammy sees me right there with him because we are such good friends. Okay? So by your word, inseparable, let's write never apart.
By himself. No mom, no daddy. But it's really nice swimming at 3, all by himself. No mommy, no friends, nobody there.
What? You didn't write inseparable? Okay, go ahead. If you have not written it, go ahead and write inseparable. Okay? You're right, Carlos. I had told you just to do these underlines, but some of them I noticed had gone on. I'm sorry, I didn't see yours. Never apart. And we're going to be reading in our story this week how Owen and Mitzi were never apart. Excuse me, they were inseparable.
So listen, they were going to take him to a place where there's all these other people to live.
Who invades? Don't worry about those. If you have time, you can add that to them. Okay, did everyone get inseparable? All right. Let's go to a word that I think you probably already know. What about exhausted? What does it mean if you are exhausted? Exhausted. Do you ever get exhausted, Sammy? Do you? When you're exhausted, how are you feeling? Tired.
Tired, lazy.
Okay, you know, we're not even going to spend a lot of time on exhausted because I was pretty sure you knew that. So we're going to say it means tired. So this week, as we think about it, instead of saying, oh, I feel so tired, maybe we'll say, I feel exhausted. And your teacher will say, wow, aren't you using our vocabulary words well?
In the pictures, don't you remember they were kind of about the same height? So Owen is probably thinking Lizzie could be like his mom or his friend. And they're about the same.
There was another word that I wasn't sure if you would know it, but I thought you might, and that is the word that is right here.
Enclosure.
Good, enclosure. Enclosure. The root word would be close, enclosure.
Lizzie said, all right.
Do you know what an enclosure is? It's a noun, enclosure. Sure on that one?
Have you ever heard of an enclosure house when you close the house down?
Okay, that you're closing your house, aren't you? Like if there's a hurricane coming or a big storm of some sort.
Enclosure.
Okay.
That's a different type of enclosure.
I was about to say,
Exactly.
say moving a apartment that would break down.
Okay.
I
Okay,
was
let's.
thinking an enclosure of animals or something because you have like bins for them where you can't do it here in the enclosure.
Where they are enclosed. Is that
Yeah.
what you were thinking?
Yeah.
This one is a picture of someone who is a ranch worker, and he's checking to be sure that an animal's enclosure is secure and safe.
Almost like the zoo
Okay, so how is it like the zoo?
because everybody has their own little bin and they want to make sure every single animal is all right.
Okay, do you know what this is called that goes around? A fence. Could it be a fenced area then?
Gate.
Okay, fenced or gate area. Now, he used the word fence. Brianna used the word gate. I want you to write down in your meaning which one of those would help you remember what enclosure means. So if it's a gated area, you could say that. If it's a fenced area, you could say that. So it is a fenced off area that is used for a special purpose to keep the animals safe. Okay, so I'm going to write it down. What happened to it? Did it get out of its enclosure? Okay. Now sometimes they do move them out of their enclosures, so you go and you'll see at the zoo and you'll say, oh, where'd that animal go? And they had been removed out of their enclosure for a certain
Oh,
time.
I had one time I was at the zoo because my friend's mom my mom's friend let us go at the zoo when it was nighttime and nobody's allowed to go when it's closed.
Yes.
There was an enclosure where there was like a leopard. A leopard got out of its pen while we were inside.
Okay.
And so they made me go home because they wanted to make sure it wouldn't go after me.
Now what I just heard Annalise say is she used the word enclosure and then she paraphrased it in that same sentence and used the word pen. So a fenced in area might be called a pen. We can also use it as an enclosure. So I like the way that you paraphrased it right in that sentence. That was awesome. Okay, is everyone good with that one?
I like your job.
Thank you. Brianna, you mentioned fenced in area. So on your paper, if you'd like to write fenced in, if that's going to speak to you more, that's perfect. Okay, we're doing really well here. Let's go to chief. Because this word is a little bit different has a little different meaning in our story this week than what we might usually think of. It's kind of one of those shades of meaning that you have over on the wall there. So what do you think chief might mean?
Is it like not like a police, or it's like almost like a police?
Okay, let's see if you can get it from our sentence. One of the chief jobs of an aquarium biologist is to educate visitors about sea life. A chief job.
What?
Okay.
That's
Are
a
you
chef.
thinking
It reminds me of
a chef?
It reminds me of a police officer.
Okay, police officer. In this particular one, it says the chief part of something is the most important or largest part. So if it's the chief job, it might be the most important. Okay? So let's do most important. I'm going to help you with that one while we get ready to get back in our group. So most important. This is going to be one of those words that's a little different, as Annalise reminded us. It's not the chief of police. Okay? Go ahead and finish that.
Wait.